Hi, Sparkles, and welcome back to Intuitive Wisdom. This is episode 235, and today's conversation feels important, especially if you've ever tried to heal through something like yoga or wellness practices, but instead felt disconnected, overwhelmed, or like something just didn't fit quite right. Because what if healing isn't about doing what looks right, but about honoring what your body actually needs? Today, I'm joined by Liz Albanis, a yoga therapist and somatic practitioner who is deeply changing the way we think about yoga, trauma, and the body. Liz shares how her own journey led her to discover that healing isn't one size fits all. In this conversation, we talk about where trauma really lives in the body, especially in the fascia and nervous system, and how the body actually holds an innate intelligence to release it when we learn how. We also explore why modern yoga can sometimes focus more on how it looks than how it feels, and how somatic, personalized practices can create real, lasting shifts in your emotional and physical well-being. Liz reminds us that yoga isn't something that you have to go somewhere to do. If you can breathe, you can practice. And she shares a simple but powerful tool that you can use today, something called humming bee breath, to help calm your nervous system and reconnect your body in a gentle, supportive way. This conversation is a beautiful reminder to trust your body, to listen to your intuition, and to redefine what healing can look like for you. Here we go. Welcome to Intuitive Wisdom, a space where insight meets energy and intuition leads the way. I'm K. Margaret Solorio, author, Angel Reiki Master, biotech graduate, and a guide for those seeking alignment in their home and life. Whether you're navigating change, clearing emotional clutter, or simply craving clarity, Intuitive Wisdom invites you to slow down, tune in, and rise into your authentic self. New episodes weekly. Come home to your own knowing. All right, Sparkles, quick announcements before we get to today's episode. Here are a few ways that I can support you right now. First, I created a free 3-day experience to help you gently reset your space and your energy. It's called the Spring Energy Refresh. This isn't about perfection or deep cleaning your entire house. It's about clearing stagnant energy, inviting lightness back in, and reconnecting your space to the natural rhythm of spring. Inside, you'll get simple guided checklists, I can say that, reflection prompts, and grounding rituals. Just 3 days, and by the end, your home will feel lighter, and so will you. You can download it for free at deliciousease.com/spring. And if you're ready for deeper support, I offer home frequency reset sessions where I help you clear the energy in your home so that your space feels calm, supportive, and aligned again. Our homes hold on to the emotional residue of everything we experience, stress, transitions, even old patterns, and over time that can feel heavy. This work gently clears that buildup so your home can truly support you. You can learn more and book a session at deliciousease.com/services. Also, if you're looking for more, my book, Make Ease Your Vibe, is available now on Amazon in both paperback and Kindle versions. It's filled with practical tools to help you shift your mindset, your energy, and your time in a way that feels intuitive and supportive. When you purchase your copy, you can go to the website, again, deliciousease.com. You'll click on book at the top, enter your information, and you get access to exclusive bonus content for each chapter. And finally, I'm excited to share that Intuitive Wisdom now has listener support open. If this podcast has supported you in any way, you can give back with a monthly donation starting at just $3 a month. As a thank you, you'll receive a shout out on our monthly Insights episode, a custom blessing spoken in your name, and healing energy intentionally sent your way. It's a beautiful exchange of energy, and it truly helps keep these conversations flowing. You can become a supporter through the link in the show notes. Thank you for being here, for your presence, and for your energy that you bring into this space. Now let's get to the episode. Liz, welcome again. Thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for having me, Kay Margaret.
Absolutely. Well, as you may know, on this podcast, we like to explore what it means to live in alignment with your energy and how trusting your intuitive wisdom could transform your inner and your outer world. So I was curious for you when I ask all my guests this, if you could share a time when your intuition nudged you into doing something unexpected.
Yes. didn't do well at school, as I didn't know I had ADHD, for one. And I was sort of encouraged by my parents to go to university and get a proper job. And so I studied business and I worked for the federal government here in Australia for 10 years. And it didn't really occur to me that for a long time that it wasn't the right thing for me. I was really miserable. I'd smoked for years, on and off since the age of 14 or 15. And a friend invited me to a yoga class, and I didn't realize the profound effect it would have on me. Because at the time I was just really stressed, really unhappy, and it made me realize how unhappy I was because I had managed to quit smoking after 3 months, which was amazing because I tried so many times. And yoga had a profound impact on my whole life. I realized it was not about bending like a pretzel, losing weight, detoxing, or an exercise class. And because I realized, it helped me realize how unhappy it was. When I was offered a redundancy, well, I sort of encouraged it, sort of put my hand up. I took it because I'm a privileged white person that could afford to do it. I realized not everyone has that option. A lot of people don't. But my intuition said, it's time for a career change.
And did you just leave without knowing what you were going to do next, or had you,
No,
besides you? Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, no. My intuition told me that yoga has had such a profound effect on me. I want to share that with others. And I also want to be in a career that fills my cup rather than drains me.
Yeah.
And I never thought I would do this. I always thought I had to have a proper job and, but yeah, so it was something that pulled me and I didn't expect. I always thought I'd stay in the federal government for my whole career and have a steady job, etc.
I think a lot of us resonate with that and grow up with those kind of ideals, but finding the difference, trusting your intuition, but that you had also already found something that spoke to you is pretty amazing.
Oh, thank you. I believe that a lot of us don't listen to our intuition because we're trained not to.
Yeah.
We listen to our head, but we don't listen to a gut instinct enough. And we don't pay enough attention to it. Yeah.
I agree. And from what I've learned about your work, you as a yoga instructor, it's unique that you recognize and adjust to people's emotional triggers. Like you started to mention, there are other benefits besides the obvious flexibility and weight loss and those kind of things. And it's my understanding this goes beyond creating a safe space, but actually using the information of yoga to work towards healing. Can you tell us where trauma lives in the body and talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of research in the last, 20, 30 years, even more in the recent, with the fact that it's not just in our brains. Yes, it changes the structure of our brain, but it lives in our body, in the fascia, the largest sensory organ in the body. And initially when I was looking into it, I thought it was only held in your psoas muscle because it's known as the trauma muscle. So for listeners who don't know what the psoas is, it's a pretty unique muscle because it originates in your spine and then it wraps around over your hip and into your inner thigh, to put it in layman's terms. But when we suffer a traumatic event, we go into the fetal position. We contract, and the psoas contracts, and that affects the diaphragm, the primary respiratory muscle. But it also affects a whole system because especially if we don't release it. And we're told to hold it together, keep it together. But our bodies have an innate ability to release the trauma if we know how. So it affects our posture. We freeze up because of that mind-body connection. So it's held throughout our whole body. It's not just the psoas. Mm-hmm. And I realized this more and more last year after I was triggered by a major event. I survived my second fire, and it really had a profound impact on me. And I would go into cobra pose, which a lot of people know from lying in your stomach, back bend, and my head would shake up and down. So that wasn't my psoas releasing, it was in my whole being.
Wow.
And I do myofascial release on my temporalis in the side of your head, which does affect the vagus nerve. And again, I would tremor, releasing the trauma. So it's held in the fascia and not just the psoas.
That's amazing. It's my understanding you also craft custom yoga routines to support your clients. How do you do that?
Yeah, so I'm currently studying to become a yoga therapist, which is more working one-on-one. And I've done a considerable amount of training, but we realize that people are unique. We're not all the same. So I get them to fill out a questionnaire, like I did when I was working as a personal trainer, actually. And I look at what their goals are, what their injuries are, their lifestyle. And then they fill this questionnaire out, and then I meet with them either in person or online. And I assess them. So I look at their body language because of yoga's sister science, Ayurveda. That can tell us a lot about a person. And part of the questionnaire they fill out is an Ayurvedic questionnaire, which is, as I said, I think I just said before, is yoga's sister science. It's holistic health, like the way Chinese medicine is. And and part of that is looking at their goals. Like at one client I had, she had high blood pressure and medication could only get it down so far. And so one of her main goals was to get her blood pressure down. My role is not to get her off medication, that's outside my scope, but to help get it down a bit more with yoga and reduce the heart palpitations and reduce her stress levels. So that was her main goal. So I gave practices that weren't contraindicated and were going to be beneficial for her in a time-efficient way that she could do at home. And part of that assessment, which I forgot to mention before, is assessing the person's breath, how they breathe, because we know that can affect their health with their automatic nervous system. And of course, we do similar things if it's in person with testing, range of motion, for certain things depending on what the client's after.
Yeah. Can you explain more for those of us who aren't familiar? I've done some traditional yoga classes, but are the poses different, or is it more about understanding that connection and allowing for release? Like you mentioned, for you, certain poses brought up trauma, and to release it, your body shook. Is that how most people experience it?
It's not always shaking, but it's working on your somatic nervous system, which is the voluntary nervous system that gives feedback to the central nervous system. But yeah, traditional yoga, or what we'd say now that modern yoga, is very much based on aesthetics. Feet hip width apart. It's not about what you're feeling. It's not about tuning into your intuition, you could say. And somatic yoga is really about working the somatic nervous system And that might entail shaking, but it's more mindful, and it's more about what you're feeling and embodying to tune into your intuition and get stuff out, get it out of yourself the way other somatic modalities can as well.
So, do you, I'm just curious, do you prepare then a list of poses for your clients, or is it like a video to follow, like a more traditional class?
Yeah, it's not a traditional class. There are a certain, like for instance, and this is something that a lot of these practices you wouldn't do in a group class, especially you want to do it's a one-on-one thing. So for instance, bridge pose, which is a back bend lying on your back, lifting your hips up. It's called therapeutic long holding. I did some training in the United States, 2018, and we held bridge pose for 10 minutes.
Oh my
A long
goodness.
time until we started shaking to release the psoas. You wouldn't do that in a regular yoga class. Because you don't know, it's just not something that you don't know who's in the room, you don't know the students well enough. Most yoga teachers are not well enough educated to deal with what could come out. And another thing they do is shaking meditations, shaking the body and things like that, similar to David Emerson's tension and trauma release exercises that release the psoas. That would be just a couple of examples. Another example would be combining myofascial release with yin yoga, and which is been named Myo Yin by my teacher Joe Fee, and using the myofascial release to get issues out of our tissues like I did after the fire. It can also reduce pain and things like that. Because a lot of people with PTSD have fibromyalgia and things like that. Yeah.
That's fascinating. I'm curious if you could talk more about how yoga has helped you tune into your own energy to bring all that
Yes.
awareness.
It's so it's about how it's tuned into my intuition.
Yeah, and into your own energy. You seem so wonderfully aware of all these connections, and I'm curious how it sounds like yoga brought you to this point and how that connection is.
Yeah, it taught me not to think with my head and to listen to, I mean, I think with my head,
Well, of
obviously,
course.
but I also listen to my intuition. So last year we had the fire. My husband was really hell-bent on rebuilding the house on the same block. And I could feel how my nervous system changed, how I felt in my body when I went to the damaged house. We didn't lose everything, and salvaged contents. It drained me, and the house never felt the same. That area of town, and I could feel how it was affecting me, and I knew it was not the right thing to do to stay there. And I could also feel the negative energy in that area of Melbourne where it happened. There had been another house fire on our street less than 6 months before ours. And there'd been another one 18 months prior to that. And I'm just like, there's something weird. The energy is bad here. But it was also how I felt. I knew I could not go back there. I actually did practice yoga in the garden of the house to release, because I knew it'd be more powerful.
Wow.
My intuition said, I could feel how I'd changed when I went to the house, and I thought, to get through this, to heal and move on, go to the garden, chant the Gayatri mantra, do my meditation, do somatic yoga, and it would be more powerful. And it released more issues in my tissues and helped me move on. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That's, yeah, it sounds a lot. It sounds intense, but it also sounds so profound. I'm curious what one of your favorite things is about doing this type of work.
It's it's sharing my love of yoga and holistic health. because I do other things. I teach Pilates and things like that. But sharing my knowledge and seeing the changes in my clients. And like, for instance, I had a client in her 50s who'd had her own trauma with childhood abuse, developmental trauma. She'd self-harmed multiple times, attempted suicide. She was being bullied at work. She went to some yoga classes and she didn't find them accessible because of her trauma, and also because she had a lot of injuries and she was larger and she didn't fit the general mold of the stereotypical yogi. And a lot of people don't. And she was being bullied at work, and I cultivated a home practice for her. And some of those practices she even is able to do at work to prevent a panic attack, or just to handle performance anxiety, to help her sleep at night. And there was a breathwork technique to reduce pain in her back. And so if anyone here is listening to this sort of thing about not fitting into a yoga class and having such complications, you can still practice yoga. You just might need to do some one-on-one, and you don't have to go to a yoga class to practice yoga. That's a modern thing.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, is there anything else you would like to add to our conversation? I think I missed.
It would be really to say, if you can breathe, you can practice yoga, and it's just finding,
That's fantastic.
finding the right style. And you don't have to go to a class, and that's why I like doing what I do, to help people who don't find yoga accessible.
Yeah. At the risk of putting you on the spot, is there a tip that we could all take away, that like a stretch we could try or something to start bringing it into our day?
Or something to release, like to calm you down.
Yeah, anything that could help.
Yeah, so this could be deemed somatic, the humming bee breath. And so, for instance, if I'm feeling frazzled, nervous, or just a bit anxious, because I'm naturally an anxious person with my ADHD, for instance, is the humming bee breath, where you take a breath in through your nose, and then on the breath out, you make the sound of a bee, that Z sound. And you can do that for a few rounds, and if that's not enough, you can do it longer, do it sitting. And to make it even more powerful for people who feel comfortable, you can cover your eyes and ears, which helps switch on your vagus nerve, the wandering nerve that tells your rest digest system, hey, everything's good, kick in. And it can be a great way to calm down and notice how you feel after it. Tune in what you're feeling, what releases. And that can be a nice thing to do, a nice quick hack for your automatic nervous system.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I'm definitely going to try that soon.
And I've got a free download on my website for a video and instructions for that. They can
Great. Yes, please tell listeners where we can connect with you and your work.
Yeah, so my website is lizalbaniswellness.com.au, and there's some freebies there. Just go to the homepage, like a relax and restore PDF, which is interactive, and some yoga classes to download, and some meditations and things like that in my freebie page. Yeah, and
wonderful.
Yeah.
Great. I'll make sure to include the link in the show notes, of course. And thank you so much. I really appreciated this conversation.
Oh, so did I. Thanks for having me on your lovely podcast. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for joining me on Intuitive Wisdom. If this episode brought you clarity or inspiration, please take a moment to leave a 5-star review. It truly helps others find this space. And if someone you love, you could use a shift in energy, share this episode with them. You never know what might resonate. For more, explore my frequency reset service, tune into more episodes, or begin the journey through my book, all at deliciousease.com. That's DELICIOUSEASE.com. All right, until next time, trust your energy, honor your space, and keep coming home to yourself.